Chapter 1. The brakes on the Greyhound bus strained as it rolled down the steep Smoky Mountain road. This bus had a different civilian air to it. Julia decided that it smelled better than the dank odor she remembered rising off the military transports she'd piloted over the past 3 years. For the past 9 months, other things had dominated her senses. Her mind fumbled with the memory of bitter-tasting medicines, cold sweat, and everywhere she went the smell of freshly made bedpans had drifted through the air. Before that, she had been unconscious for 3 months. When she awoke, she found herself completely paralyzed. While she had been asleep, the doctors had performed dozens of surgeries on her. The scars were hideous. Because of her severe injuries, she had been given a constant dosage of powerful pain medicine. They had fused most of the vertebra between her neck and tailbone with titanium rods. They had also reconstructed most of her right shoulder and left femur, tibia, and foot out of titanium. One of her nurses had joked that she has more titanium in her body than Tony Stark has in his whole Iron Man suit. Then, even as the painful physical therapy helped her regain feeling in her fingers and toes, she was being moved from hospital to hospital. The doctors told her that she would never be the same again. The memory sent a shiver throughout her body and she shifted her thoughts. Through the bus windows, the scenery looked familiar. The morning sun had just crested the mountains, igniting the fog into a shimmering halo, and she wished her son were here to see this. She imagined her little boy saying that the golden light looked like a big crown resting on the heads of some enormous beast. Something from a recent dream surfaced. It was the memory of seeing such beautiful things on a faraway world. The image touched the edges of her mind and then it passed. The bus turned and then dipped into the shadows. Julia recalled hunting with her uncle in these mountains when she was a teenager. He had channeled her anger into skills that later saved her life. She had learned to climb mountains, track animals, use a knife and shoot. During her darkest moments, he had been there to teach her how to survive. Now that she faced the greatest challenge of her life, she wished he were still here. The trees and the long winding road switched back until the bus re-emerged from the darkness. She looked for the glowing halo again, but the angle of the sun had shifted, leaving only a thick gray mist that now snaked above and in between the lower hills. The clouds were still beautiful, but her longing to see the shining mist again made her long for her son. The image of the hills emerging and dipping in and out of the fog brought a childhood story to her mind. Magic lived in these mountains. As the moments passed, the magical feeling grew inside her stomach and her heart began to race. "There's a secret here," Julia spoke quietly to herself. She was surprised to hear herself say that aloud, but the mystery made her feel like she was going to explode. Something had been calling her from out there since the moment she had gotten on the bus, and that voice grew stronger with every passing minute. Then the bus turned again and the hills and mountains vanished into the thicket of trees. A stream of warm air touched her face. The heater had kicked on again. She adjusted the vent above her seat, and as the moments passed she listened to the constant humming of the engine. The vibration felt hypnotizing, as if drawing her into a dream. The trees hid the sun again, but swaying beams of light slipped through the branches, leaving glowing tiger stripes across the road ahead. The pattern looked like it would go on and on as they drove, but she knew the road would turn again. It always did, but for right now, she felt peace. The loud sound of hydraulic brakes hissing and the sudden loss of momentum pulled her back to awareness. The bus driver said, "Welcome to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee."